Alright, I'd like to work a problem on 2-3C. 2-3C. And we're going to work problem number 46. Number 46, which reads y is less than or equal to 3 minus the absolute value of 13x plus 13. Okay, now understand what we're trying to do is we're trying to get it into the form that looks like this. Y is less than or equal to a times x minus h plus k. So we're going to have to, in order to find the h and k and a, we're going to have to rewrite this equation, rework it, manipulate it if you will, so that it goes into the form that we see. Alright? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out a 13 outside of the absolute value. So we're going to go y is less than or equal to 3 minus 13, and then inside the absolute value that's going to be x plus 1. Okay? So think of it as the opposite of distributive properties, just like parentheses in that respect. Alright? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch the two terms. We have two terms here. We have 3 and negative 13 times the square root of x plus 1. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to make this first term the second term and make the second term the first. So now this becomes y is less than or equal to negative 13 times the square root of x plus 1 plus 3. Alright? Now, by rearranging the equation this way, we now have the equation looking like the general form that you see there. So that tells us several things. First of all, it tells us where the point of reflection, or the bounce, if you will, is going to take place. Remember, the point of reflection is h comma k. So in this case, my h now is negative 1 and my k is 3. Okay, so the point of reflection is going to be negative 1 comma 3. Alright, you can also see that my a is equal to negative 13, so I know that the graph that I draw, that the v is going down. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw this graph, at least the beginnings of it. So there's my x, y coordinate plane graph. Alright, I'm going to locate the point of reflection, which is negative 1 comma 3, negative 1 comma 3, and I know that my v is going down. So at this point what I'm going to do is now I'm going to select a y, my choice. I know my y's got to be less than 3, so my y has to be down here in this region someplace. It could be even 0. It could even be 1 if I wanted to. Matter of fact, maybe that would be easier. Let's let y be 1. So let y equal 1. So we're putting a line y equals 1 right here. And somewhere on that line I'm going to put 2 points that are going to allow me to be able to graph that line, to graph those the balance, or graph the absolute value graph, okay, in an upside down v. So let's plug 1 into this inequality. So we're going to plug 1 into that inequality right there. So I go 1 less than or equal to negative 13 times the absolute value x plus 1 plus 3. Okay? So now solve for x. That's basically what you're going to do. And you're going to have two x's that are going to appear on that you're going to solve for. First, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. So here I have negative 2 is less than or equal to negative 13 times the absolute value of x plus 1. Okay? Now, the next thing to do is get rid of the 13 on the right side, so I'm going to divide both sides of the inequality by negative 13. Remember, when you divide an inequality by a negative number, you flip or reverse the inequality sign. So here I have negative 2 over negative 13, which is 2/13. Now this becomes greater than or equal to the absolute value of x plus 1. Alright, so on the left side of the inequality I have a number. On the right side I have the absolute value. So this is going to break into two inequalities. So I've got 2/3 greater than or equal to x plus 1. I also have negative 2/3 less than or equal to x plus 1. So in both cases, if I subtract 1 from both sides of each inequality, I get the following. So if I go 2/3 minus 1, I get negative 1/3. So here, this leads me to negative 1/3 is greater than or equal to x. Or you could also say that x is less than or equal to negative 1/3. All right, going to the second inequality, here I have, if I subtract 1, now negative 1 minus 2/3 is negative 1 2/3. So here I have negative 1 2/3 is less than or equal to x. Or you could say that x is greater than or equal to negative 1 2/3. All right, so the two places where the line's going to cross, here we have negative 1/3. X is, so we're going to have a point here, negative 1/3. All right, so this point is negative 1/3, comma 1. And then I have negative 1 2/3. Right here, negative 1 2/3, comma 1. And that is going to be where the line crosses as I make my graph. All right. So looking at the original inequality, right up here we have less than. Less than means down below. So that means that it is going to be shaded inside. Another way to look at that is if I look at just the x direction, we know x is going to be greater than or equal to negative 1 2/3 and less than or equal to negative 2/3. So we know that the x values, the shaded portion, the portion that's going to be shaded is where the x's are in between those two amounts. And that just happens to be inside the V. So that would be the answer for number 46. All right.